cactus and succulent growers, it's Lynn, and in today's video I'm going to be transplanting my little cute Epiphyllum Cactus seedlings that I sown back in 2020, in May 2020, so over 3 years ago now. And I've actually got 5 trays of 13 different types of epiphyllums. And as I say, I sowed these from seed back in May 2020 and actually made a video when I actually sowed these epiphyllum seeds. And happy to say they have grown really well over the years, and I've transplanted them I think a couple of times since into more sort of trays and more space. And if you didn't see the original video when I actually sowed the seeds of these epiphyllum seedlings, then do check out that video. I'll link that video up above and down below in the video description. And I was very lucky to have been gifted these seeds of epiphyllum from my wonderful friend John, who lives here in Ireland, in Knock. And John very kindly sent me 13 different seeds from all his mixed cross-pollinations of his own epiphyllum plants. John has an absolutely incredible collection of epiphyllums in his greenhouse in Knock in Ireland, in the south of Ireland, and very kind of John to give me the seeds, and they've grown really well. But I actually wasn't going to film this video. I actually started, I've got the trays here, as you can see, this one here. I actually started to prick them out to transplant them, and then I thought, why not just do a very quick video? I'm not going to show the whole process. I'm just going to talk a bit about them and show you when they've been potted up. And I've actually taken these ones out. These were actually this side of the tray. As I say, there's 13 different types of epiphyllum hybrids, and I've obviously, when I sowed the seed, I put the labels on and I sectioned them off with little sections. For example, this one is number 12, this one is number 13, and this one is, no, sorry, that was number 11. This is number 12, that was number 13. And as you can see here, all numbered. I don't have the names of the epiphyllums, but they are all crosses, so that's why they're all labelled, because there's 13 different types. So when I pot these up, transplant them and pot them up, which I'm going to be doing in a hanging basket, possibly another hanging basket as well. I've got some pots there on the floor that I'm going to be putting them into. I'm going to make sure that I stick the labels on and also partition them off so I know exactly which ones. Otherwise, if I just plant them all together, I won't know which ones. As I say, there's 13 different types. So as I say, I've already pricked these out already. I'm shaking off some of the old soil and checking them over, prune off any sort of dead little stems and things like that. And I've got a hanging basket already there, and what I'm going to be doing is lining the hanging basket with some plastic here with a couple of little holes at the bottom of them, and I'm going to line the plastic basket, the hanging basket, and then put the soil in, and then make little holes and put these little epiphyllums in. And the soil mix I've made up here, very different to my traditional cactus soil mix. Epiphytic cacti do like to be kept moist much longer than desert cacti. So although they like a free draining compost also, they don't like a very sandy, gritty soil. So I've actually, in this case, I've actually used a bit of traditional houseplant soil at about 50%, and I've used a bit of 25% peat. It's the only time I use peat is with epiphytes, and 25% John Innes. That's the actual soil. And then I've used a good big handful, in fact, a few good handfuls of perlite as well, and also just a handful of sand, because I wanted to make sure it was well draining and airy, and I've given it all a really good mix around. The perlite helps to give more aeration for the roots, and the reason why I've used more of a houseplant soil is because, as I mentioned, epiphytes do like to be kept moist but still like a well draining soil, so totally different soil than I'll be using for my desert types of cacti. And obviously going to be checking these over, giving them a shake, doing them all into individual partitions, and just show you a few little video clips as I go along, and then show you what they look like when they're all been transplanted into the new hanging basket and pots. Now what I've done here, I've just lined the bottom of the basket with this plastic here, because it's going to obviously stop any water from coming straight out. I can't just put the soil straight in. And then obviously when the plants are all in, I'm going to just neaten this up, going around the edges here. That's the soil all in. And I'm just going to show you some examples of me putting the new, the little Epiphyllum seedlings into the new soil and pot here. And then I'm obviously going to show you what it looks like when it's all done, so it's not going to be too much of a longer video. So the first one is, I'm going to pick up this one here. And little one, I'll just turn the camera around so you can see this little cutie here. And I've given it a little shake with the roots. And then what I'm going to be doing then, making a little hole at the back, like so. And then tip that in. It's got a great little root system on it, absolutely fantastic. Then I've used exactly the same soil as I used the last time, more or less. That can go there. And then literally just very gently press it down. That's the first one. As I say, this one is number 11 of the Epiphyllum hybrids. Then another little hole there, and then the next one is going to be this little cutie here, as you can see, and then that in there. And what's interesting about Epiphyllum seedlings is that when they're young like this, these are only just over 3 years old, they have quite a lot of spines, as you can see. And when they mature, they go more like a typical Epiphyllum with their sort of proper long sort of leaves. As an example, here's a bit of a cutting there that I've got of another Epiphyllum leaf there. Totally different as they mature. And they're very cute. And then I'm going to show you another one here. Putting the ones that are bigger and taller in first. This one is a lovely big, lovely long one as well. Now there we go, that's the first lot of Epiphyllum seedlings put in this part of the hanging basket, and I've labelled it there, Epiphyllum variety, so May 2020, number 11. So I know that there's a hybrid number 11 there, and looking very lovely. As I mentioned, as the seedlings mature, they do go more like the leaves there, as you can see. A bit more like traditional mature Epiphyllums go. But it's amazing when they're still quite young how much they look like more like normal cacti with the spines on them. And what I've done, I put a little partition there to separate them, because I'm going to be transplanting these now. This is Epiphyllum variety number 12, and there's just 2 here that I've got. Just took these out here, and I'm going to be putting them in there, also partitioning it off and labelling, and then doing this one, this Epiphyllum 13, separating all of these. And just look at the leaves. These are definitely growing more like Epiphyllum leaves as they mature. And what's interesting, these were all sown exactly the same time, back in May 2020. But the different varieties of Epiphyllums, you can see how this is a much faster growing variety, and how the leaves are looking now like more traditional leaves of Epiphyllum, and so different to the other ones that are still in the young sort of seedling stage. It's a much more spiny. The spines are very soft, which is why I'm touching them. No, there's no sharpness to these at all, but obviously as they do get older, they do form more of these leaves. And that hole, by the way, is a slug. I had these outside in the yard during the summer, and slugs attack the leaves. Such a shame, because they're growing lovely and healthy. So there we go. Now I'm going to do these ones. Woohoo! That's the first tray emptied and all put into this hanging basket, all different sizes. And as I say, I've partitioned them off and also labelled them there, all done. And what I'm going to be doing is I will be giving these a very light watering in about 3 days time. Normally when I repot cactus, I recommend leaving at least 10 days to 2 weeks before watering again, if you're potting up during the spring and summer. If you're repotting in the winter, keep them dry to the following spring. But because these are epiphytes, epiphyllums, epiphytic cacti don't need to have a dry, they don't like to go too long without watering. And I've been very careful with the roots. As you can see, I just tease them out of the trays here and put them into this very carefully. So it's just a case of settling them in, and then 3 days later I'm going to give them a bit of a light watering, and then water as normal a few days later. because epiphytic cacti don't like to go too long without watering. Totally different care to a desert cactus. So now I've got left with these 4 trays here, and these are much smaller seedlings. Now I've chosen another hanging basket. I decided that this one is quite a good size, certainly for this tray here. I've got 2 different types of epiphyllums here. Again, 2 more different types of hybrids, and I'm going to be putting these into here and obviously partitioning them off again. And then these 3 here, depends on how much space I've got left in the hanging basket. I may have to put this into separate pots again, but first of all I'm going to start off by pricking all of these out. So here we go. First of all, we'll use these little spoon here just to lift them out. Come out very easily. And separating them all very carefully, giving them a shake. Woohoo! That's them all done. In the second basket there, the second tray emptied, and as I say, I partitioned them off as well and put the little labels going across so I know which is which. And I've kept this one separate because this is actually growing really well. Look at that. So it deserves its own little pot. So I'm going to put that one up, pot this up in this one separately, and I've just put number 5 so I know it's Epiphyllum number 5. A little cutie. So happy days. Woohoo! That's them all planted up, and I've put the ones in the other trays here in these little hanging baskets, and I partitioned them off, and obviously got the names of the numbers of the different mixed hybrid Epiphyllum seedlings here, and the same with this one. And this one I potted up separately, as I mentioned, and I've wrote down there Epiphyllum, and I put number 5 and sown May 2020. And happy days to get that done. And if you want to know how to care for and grow epiphytic cactus plants, then do check out the video I've made on how to grow and care for epiphytic cactus plants. Links up above and down below. And epiphyllums have the most incredible of stunning flowers, one of the most beautiful of flowers of the cactus world. So they're amazing plants to grow. And as I say, totally different care requirements entirely to desert cacti. But I have quite a lot of different epiphyllums in my collection. And these lovely epiphyllum seedlings, they'll probably last a year or 2, as I mentioned, in these baskets. And then I'll have to obviously pot them all again, may have to pot them all up separately eventually, because they do grow very large. And they're going to be very wonderful to see what the flowers are going to be like on all these different types of hybrids here. So very exciting. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. For lots more tips and tricks, don't forget to subscribe. Do click the notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon. And for more growing tips on how to grow for many different types of cacti and succulents, do check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all an amazing cactus parrot day. Little sweeties.